ਬ੍ਰੇਕਫਾਸਟ ਬਸ ਦੇਖਣ ਦਾ। ਹਰ ਵੀਕ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਵਾਂ ਮੁੱਦਾ, ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਨਵਾਂ ਟੌਪਿਕ ਲਿਆਉਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਔਰ ਇਹ ਸਿੱਖਿਆ ਦੇਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਕਲਚਰ ਨੂੰ, ਜੋ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਕਲਚਰ ਹੈ, ਜੋ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਮਝੀਏ ਅਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਸਟਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਚਲਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰੀਏ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਕਦੀ ਨਾ ਕਦੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨਸ ਧੱਕਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਸਮਝਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਡਿਲਿਬਰੇਟਲੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਡੋਂਟ ਈਵਨ ਐਗਜ਼ਿਸਟ, ਔਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੋਕ ਅਫਸੋਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਲੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਜੋਰਟੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਔਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਾਥ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ। ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਹੋਣ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਆਈਫਾ ਅਵਾਰਡਸ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਫਿਲਮ ਅਕੈਡਮੀ ਦੇ ਅਵਾਰਡਸ ਨੇ। ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਧਾਈ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜ਼ਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ। ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਦੱਸਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਹੈ, ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਫਿਲਮ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਹੈ, ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਫਿਲਮ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ, ਔਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ, ਸਾਡੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਣ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ। ਮੇਨ ਸਟਰੀਮ, ਅਗੇਨ ਇਟਸ ਬਿਟਵੀਨ ਮੇਨ ਸਟਰੀਮ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਅਤੇ ਐਥਨਿਕ ਮੀਡੀਆ। ਐਥਨਿਕ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਵੈਲਿਊ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ, ਜਦੋਂ ਕਿ ਅਗਰ ਐਥਨਿਸਿਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖੀਏ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਸਾਊਥ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਹੈ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਐਥਨਿਕ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦਾ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨੂੰ ਹਾਈਲਾਈਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ 2 ਤਸਵੀਰਾਂ ਦਿਖਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੇ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਈਫਾ ਬੱਸ ਦੇ ਸਿਲਸਿਲੇ 'ਚ ਇੱਕ ਇਵੈਂਟ ਹੋਇਆ ਔਰ ਮੇਨ ਸਟਰੀਮ ਦੇ ਫੋਟੋਗ੍ਰਾਫਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਜਾਣ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਔਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਫੋਟੋਗ੍ਰਾਫਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਕ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿਰਫ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਟਾਰਸ ਆਏ ਸਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੈਕ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੋਂ ਤਸਵੀਰ ਖਿੱਚ ਸਕੇ। ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਇਤਜਾਜ ਕੀਤਾ, ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ 'ਚ ਦੱਸਿਆ, ਮੇਅਰ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ, ਵਿਕੀ ਢਿੱਲੋਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਅਸਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਲਿਆ ਔਰ ਦੈਟਸ ਦ ਵੇ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼। ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਫੋਟੋਗ੍ਰਾਫ ਦਿਖਾਵਾਂਗੇ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬੈਕ ਸਾਈਡ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਟਾਰਸ ਦੀ ਫੋਟੋ ਖਿੱਚੀ, ਆਈਡੀ ਵੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਵਾਲੇ ਦੀ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ, ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੌਰ ਨਾਲ ਦੇਖੋਗੇ। ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਇਹਦਾ ਸਿਟੀ ਹਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਵੀ ਇਤਜਾਜ ਕੀਤਾ। ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਟੋਰਾਂਟੋ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਨੇ ਇਹਦਾ ਇਸੇ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਈਕਾਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਅਹਿਮੀਅਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ। ਅਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਸਿਲਸਿਲੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਫ਼ੋਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਫੀਡਬੈਕ ਦੇਵੋ, ਆਪਣੀ ਰਾਏ ਦੇਵੋ। ਉਸ ਦੇ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਹਰ ਵੀਕ ਦੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ। ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੇਅਰ ਆਫ ਵਾਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਦਿਖਾਵਾਂਗੇ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਤਸਵੀਰੀ ਝਲਕੀਆਂ ਦਿਖਾਵਾਂਗੇ, ਕੋਈ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਫੁਟੇਜ ਦਿਖਾਵਾਂਗੇ। ਇੱਥੇ ਸਮਰ ਟਾਈਮ ਹੈ, ਬਾਰਬੀਕਿਊ ਹੋਇਆ ਹਰਿੰਦਰ ਤੱਕੜ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਐਨੂਅਲ ਬਾਰਬੀਕਿਊ, ਉਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਵਰ ਕੀਤਾ। ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਪੈਮ ਹੁੰਡਲ ਦੀਆਂ ਕੁਝ ਤਸਵੀਰਾਂ ਦਿਖਾਵਾਂਗੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੋਈ ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਪੀਸੀ ਦੇ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸੱਦਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਵਰ ਕੀਤਾ। ਆਈ ਹੋਪ ਯੂ ਲਾਈਕ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਐਂਡ ਥਿੰਕ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੈਂਬਰ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ, ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ MPP ਨੂੰ, ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਾਉਂਸਲ ਪਰਸਨ ਨੂੰ, ਸਿਟੀ ਹਾਲ ਨੂੰ ਚਿੱਠੀਆਂ ਲਿਖਦੇ ਰਹੀਏ, ਈਮੇਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੀਏ ਔਰ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਰਹੀਏ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਐਗਜ਼ਿਸਟ ਔਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਸੋਸਾਇਟੀ ਦੇ ਇੰਨੇ ਹੀ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ इंसान हैं जिन्ने के बाकी ने। थैंक यू, आई होप यू लाइक द प्रोग्राम।
जब लड़की अपनी स्किन की वजह से परेशान हो
तो फिक्र की क्या बात है, लेजर स्पॉट है ना।
लेजर स्पॉट, फोटो फेशियल, थर्माज एंटी एजिंग, लेजर हेयर रिमूवल। लेजर स्पॉट, where beauty meets elegant professionals।
लेजर स्पॉट हाईवे 10 और क्वींस के संगम पर। कॉल शेला 9054872680।
ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਾਸ ਕਈ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ।
ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਕਲੇਮ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਸੈਟਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ।
ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਇੰਜਰੀ ਲਾਇਰ ਰਮੇਸ਼ ਸੰਘਾ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੋ।
ਤੁਰੰਤ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਲਈ ਆਓ ਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਮੁਆਵਜ਼ਾ ਲਓ।
हम रियल स्टेट, फैमिली लॉ और इमिग्रेशन में भी सर्विसेज देते हैं।
905-677-9911।
ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਖਰੀਦਣ ਦੇ 2 ਤਰੀਕੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਪਹਿਲਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਦਿਹਾੜੀ ਗੇੜੇ ਕੱਢੋ ਤੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਜਾਓ, ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਾਓ ਤੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਸੰਦ ਦਾ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਘਰ ਲੈ ਆਓ। ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਤੇ ਲੱਗੀ ਆ ਭਾਰੀ ਸੇਲ, ਘੱਟ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ 100% ਫਰਨੀਚਰ। ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਦੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਬ੍ਰਾਂਚ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੋ। 905-790-6790 905-790-6790 ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ।
अपने कारोबार की तरक्की के लिए प्रिंट पब्लिसिटी और बेहतरीन प्रिंटिंग के लिए सिर्फ एक ही नाम, जहां जदीद टेक्नोलॉजी से स्टोर फ्रंट साइंस, चैनल लेटर्स, बैनर्स, रियल स्टेट साइंस, सैंडविच बोर्ड्स, व्हीकल ग्राफिक्स, बिजनेस कार्ड्स, पोस्ट कार्ड्स, लेबल्स, फ्लायर्स आपके बजट और आपके वक्त में बनाए जाते हैं। आपका काम सिर्फ सोचना है, क्योंकि
We print your thoughts.
साइंस टू गो।
लड़की अपनी स्किन की वजह से परेशान हो।
तो फिक्र की क्या बात है, लेजर स्पॉट है ना।
लेजर स्पॉट, फोटो फेशियल, थर्माज एंटी एजिंग, लेजर हेयर रिमूवल। Laser Spot, where beauty meets elegant professionals.
Laser Spot, हाईवे 10 और क्वींस के संगम पर। कॉल शेला 9054872680।
ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਖਰੀਦਣ ਦੇ ਦੋ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਪਹਿਲਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਦਿਹਾੜੀ ਗੇੜੇ ਕੱਢੋ ਤੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਜਾਓ, ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਾਓ ਤੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਸੰਦ ਦਾ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਘਰ ਲੈ ਆਓ। ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਤੇ ਲੱਗੀ ਆ ਭਾਰੀ ਸੇਲ। ਘੱਟ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ 100% ਫਰਨੀਚਰ। ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਦੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਬ੍ਰਾਂਚ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੋ। 905 790 6790 905 790 6790 ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ।
ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਾਸ ਕਈ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ।
ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਕਲੇਮ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਸੈਟਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ।
ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਇੰਜਰੀ ਲਾਇਰ ਰਮੇਸ਼ ਸੰਗਾ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੋ।
ਤੁਰੰਤ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਲਈ ਆਓ ਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਮੁਆਵਜ਼ਾ ਲਓ।
हम रियल स्टेट, फैमिली लॉ और इमिग्रेशन में भी सर्विसेज देते हैं।
905 677 9911।
अपने कारोबार की तरक्की के लिए प्रिंट पब्लिसिटी और बेहतरीन प्रिंटिंग के लिए सिर्फ एक ही नाम, जहां जदीद टेक्नोलॉजी से स्टोर फ्रंट साइंस, चैनल लेटर्स, बैनर्स, रियल स्टेट साइंस, सैंडविच बोर्ड्स, व्हीकल ग्राफिक्स, बिजनेस कार्ड्स, पोस्ट कार्ड्स, लेबल्स, फ्लायर्स आपके बजट और आपके वक्त में बनाए जाते हैं। आपका काम सिर्फ सोचना है, क्योंकि
We print your thoughts.
साइंस टू गो।
Welcome to yet another episode of Breakfast Buzz, where we do make an honest attempt to make new Canadians and youth and all across the border ethnic communities aware of the happenings and how the system can best work for them and why they should fully understand it. Today, of all people, we have the mayor of the city of Vaughan, Mauricio Bevi Lacqua. Welcome, sir. Good morning. How are you?
Pleasure to be here, and thank you so much for your invite.
You're welcome, sir, and thank you for graciously giving time to come to our show. I very well know that you have been an MP for 22 years.
Yes.
And now let's start with that how is this transition treating you? How are you fitting into it?
Well, first of all, since your show deals with young people, I just want to tell them that I started public life at a very young age, relatively speaking. I was elected at the age of 28. This was 18 years later, after I came from Italy in 1970. I say these for two reasons. Number one is that young people require a voice in Parliament, and that's the reason why I ran. And secondly, to also tell them that if an immigrant boy who came here at age 10 was able to get into the House of Commons as a member of Parliament at age 28, that in fact you live in a society that is indeed open, and that if you're willing to roll up your sleeves and work hard and be focused on your ultimate goal, that you can in fact achieve it. Youth participation is extremely important. One of the major reason why it is important, because every decision we make, whether in the House of Commons or in Queen's Park or in a local council, has to do with the future, building a community. And the impact that it has on the generation, is particularly the future generation of young people who will benefit from the decisions, the wise decisions made at those levels. The reason why they should be involved is to be really the energy, the drive behind whatever direction we want to go in, but also to understand that there is a fundamental role for people to play in a society, in a democracy. A democracy should never be taken for granted. A democracy that allows people to have self-expression and to be whatever they really want to be and become. To me, fundamental to any political, anything you do in politics is a willingness to be of public service. And I often say when I speak to students at schools, and I've spoken to over 100,000 students in my area alone over the years, is that there's no higher honor that can be bestowed upon a man or a woman than to be of service to others. But that doesn't mean you have to get elected. You can do that in all sorts of things. For example, you can have a TV show.
Okay. So being in active politics for a while and being in the limelight, and you attended a lot of gatherings and interacted with a lot of communities. What do you see the future holds as far as the political arena goes for the youth of this country?
Well, the youth of the country are extremely important to the process. They're really the energy behind any political party. They're the ones that during campaigns make things happen. I've always entrusted and given responsibilities to young people, even at the levels of campaign manager, for example, because I believe that you have to give them responsibilities and also a chance to prove themselves. It could be risky at times, but it's a risk worth taking. Because that builds confidence in the youth, not only for that particular individual, but also for the other young people that actually see this individual grow in a position of responsibility. So the simple talking about young people in speeches is one thing, but actually giving them an opportunity is totally another. And I've always tried to align my actions to my values, principles and beliefs, and when it comes to young people, I've always believed that they need a chance to prove themselves. You know, young people are always faced with, for example, when it comes to employment, they're faced with the experience paradox. No job, no experience, no experience, no job. So you've got to give them a chance. And they have a lot to offer, particularly now as we see the transformation of the world in the digital age. They're very well equipped in technology. They understand the new ways of communicating. They bring a lot of value to the table, and it is this expression of confidence that I believe provides young people with the impetus to even do more. And everybody likes to be respected, and my fundamental belief is that these values of respect, of responsibility, of taking care of one another, providing opportunities, are fundamental to building any strong organization or indeed any society. You know, everything we probably learned in kindergarten, right? Manners, respect,
Absolutely.
dignity, integrity, all these things that now we talk about as if we've just basically rediscovered them. The reality is that's humanity. You've got to give young people the respect they deserve. You've got to give them the responsibility that they seek. And of course, people will make mistakes, but we all do. What it does do, though, is it provides a great sense of belonging to the greater community, and it also provides young people with an opportunity to prove themselves, which is what most young people really want to do. And when you do that, and when you have models, when you develop a generation that can become role models for the rest of the population, then what happens is young people begin to feel part and parcel of the project, of the project that they're working on. And they will give of themselves, but you've got to give them the opportunity.
Having said that you touched the base of jobs. Jobs is not only an issue with the youth in general, it is a general issue with new Canadians, the Canadian experience thing.
That's right.
And then they end up being frustrated. So where is the ray of hope as far as you being a leader? I know we are not talking on a party-based system, we are talking on the leadership-based system. Where is the hope for the new Canadians or youth? I don't see that coming.
Well, I mean, I'm very hopeful. I'm an immigrant myself, and I think this country's been exceptionally good to me. Now, that is not to say that I don't bring anything to this country, and what new Canadians need to understand is that while Canada provides opportunities for them, not as many as it used to, there's no question that Canada has benefited throughout the years from the great genius that new Canadians bring to the country.
Absolutely.
And I don't mean that in just economic terms. I also mean that in cultural terms, from an artistic point of view, from a social cohesion point of view. You've got to remember, in a city, for example, like Vaughan, 70 different languages are spoken. People from all over the world coexist in harmony. That is really a testament to the type of immigration that we have, that we factor in gender issues, we factor in cultural, economic, religious, and we're all able to coexist together. That is quite a statement about new Canadians. The ability to maintain their cultural roots, the ability to maintain their religious roots, but coexist in a very peaceful environment, in a very orderly fashion, which speaks to their discipline and their ability to really absorb the very best of what Canadian citizenship is truly all about. That, to me, is what makes immigration so important to our country. Not to mention, if we want to get into stats, next year, 100% of Canada's net labor force growth will come solely from immigration.
Is that so?
That is an incredible number. Unfortunately, what has happened with new Canadians, and I say unfortunately, is that they haven't been able to reach from an economic point of view the same level that, let's say, immigrants from since the war, the ones that came post-war. It takes a longer time for immigrants now to reach the Canadian average, which means that there are some barriers that exist in our society, in our economy, that need to be seriously looked at. Because what I say is that the nation, the city, the community only reaches its full potential when the individuals within that community reach their full potential. Mm-hmm. So you can't have a doctor driving a cab or a taxi. Not that there's anything wrong with the job of driving a cab or a limo or what have you. There's nothing wrong with that. But what I'm saying, that's not what he's trained to do. If that person's supposed to be in a surgery room is one thing, and an operation room, say, or in a cab, those are two choices that people make. But it's only when that person doesn't have the opportunity to do what he or she would like to do that there is a disconnect between the ambitions of the individual and what the country has to offer. And whenever there is that disconnect between a person's desire to achieve something and the opportunity, there is what I call an opportunity gap. And that gap needs to be filled. If people are willing to work hard, play by the rules, they ought to be rewarded. And unfortunately for many immigrants in Canada today, particularly the recent wave, that has been more difficult. What is also fascinating to note is that the immigrants that actually come to Canada now are actually better educated than previous
yes, definitely yes.
Previous cohort of immigrants, which tells you that there's something amiss here that we need to fix. Things related to the accreditation of their degrees. That is not happening fast enough. So you will have maybe a doctor working in a field that you shouldn't be working in or she shouldn't be working in. That type of disconnect does not help the country because it doesn't maximize the potential of the individual. And to me, that is fundamental to any strong society, any strong economy. You need to, there's the expression of firing on all cylinders. You can't have an 8-cylinder car firing on 4. And every time that you have that, you're not really achieving all that you can. And that has to be fixed, and that has to be addressed. And I know that there are going to be measures that need to be taken, particularly at the federal and provincial level, that need to address these inequities because these type of barriers which exist hold people back.
Absolutely, and this is a point of frustration. Shouldn't it be a recommendation that I ask all my guests who come from a political background that some recommendations be made that tax credit should be given to companies that hire new immigrants? That is one way of making it work.
Yeah, if governments decide that,
if the recommendations are made, only then they will decide.
But if governments decide that in fact immigrants are a group that require that type of help because the system is not working for them,
a tax credit to the companies that hire them.
That's right.
That could be a way of resolving it to some extent.
I think you need to put a lot of ideas on the table, but my major concern is the ultimate objective, that you have to maximize the human resources potential of each individual, and that has to be done one way or another.
Because you being a popular leader, as I know that in your resume it states that you were at one point, you got the highest number of votes in Canada, so you definitely are a popular leader. That's why you ended up being a member of parliament for 22 years. And you have worked with the immigrants because you have worked on the immigration bills and on the immigration issues. So do you see a bright future in the coming days in your city?
Well, I do. I'm blessed. I mean, I live in one of the
very diverse community, very diverse,
but also one of the fastest growing communities, one of the highest economic growth rates, lowest unemployment, incomes that are fairly high given the national average. But that doesn't mean that we don't have challenges. We all have challenges. We have, for example, in the region itself, we have people that are making over 100,000 and up, growing, but we're also finding that people that make $37,000 and lower is also growing. Which means that you may actually be seeing a shrinking middle class, which is not a good sign. Having said that, York Region, the city of Vaughan, is an area of phenomenal opportunities.
Absolutely, no doubt.
We are growing. This year is our 20th anniversary. When the city was formed 20 years ago, the population was 110,000. Now we're closing in on 300,000, and in 2031 we will be close to 420,000. That's immense growth. That's just on the residential side. On the employment side, we're literally going to have to create tens of thousands of jobs for people, and we're very blessed with employment lands that still have to be developed. We have, as a city, we have the 400, the 407. We're very close to also the 427, very close to the airports as an international gateway. And we're generally speaking an area that is one from an economic perspective. We're strategically located. Literally, over 100 million people within a day's drive live in our. That's a huge market.
Of course it is.
When you think of obviously it's the United States as well.
Yes, we'll come back to US-Canada relations, but we'll have to go for a short break. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned in. We'll be right back after these messages.
जब लड़की अपनी स्किन की वजह से परेशान हो
तो फिक्र की क्या बात है, लेजर स्पॉट है ना।
लेजर स्पॉट, फोटो फेशियल, थर्माज एंटी एजिंग, लेजर हेयर रिमूवल, लेजर स्पॉट, where beauty meets elegant professionals.
लेजर स्पॉट हाईवे 10 और क्वींस के संगम पर। कॉल शेला 9054872680।
ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਖਰੀਦਣ ਦੇ ਦੋ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਪਹਿਲਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਦਿਹਾੜੀ ਗੇੜੇ ਕੱਢੋ ਤੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਜਾਓ, ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਾਓ ਤੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਸੰਦ ਦਾ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਘਰ ਲੈ ਆਓ। ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਤੇ ਲੱਗੀ ਆ ਭਾਰੀ ਸੇਲ। ਘੱਟ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ 100% ਫਰਨੀਚਰ। ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਦੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਬ੍ਰਾਂਚ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੋ। 905 790 6790 905 790 6790 ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ।
ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਾਸ ਕਈ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ।
ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਕਲੇਮ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਸੈਟਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ।
ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਇੰਜਰੀ ਲਾਇਰ ਰਮੇਸ਼ ਸੰਘਾ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੋ।
ਤੁਰੰਤ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਲਈ ਆਓ ਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਮੁਆਵਜ਼ਾ ਲਓ।
हम रियल स्टेट, फैमिली लॉ और इमिग्रेशन में भी सर्विसेज देते हैं।
905 677 9911।
अपने कारोबार की तरक्की के लिए प्रिंट पब्लिसिटी और बेहतरीन प्रिंटिंग के लिए सिर्फ एक ही नाम, जहां जदीद टेक्नोलॉजी से स्टोर फ्रंट साइंस, चैनल लेटर्स, बैनर्स, रियल स्टेट साइंस, सैंडविच बोर्ड्स, व्हीकल ग्राफिक्स, बिजनेस कार्ड्स, पोस्ट कार्ड्स, लेबल्स, फ्लायर्स आपके बजट और आपके वक्त पे बनाए जाते हैं। आपका काम सिर्फ सोचना है, क्योंकि
We print your thoughts.
साइंस टू गो।
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today we do have the Mayor of Vaughan with us, and we are in conversation with them. Welcome back again, sir. So we were in this conversation that you have been working a lot, or you have worked a lot on US-Canada relations. Would you give us a rundown on that?
Well, I advocated, of course, for major areas of cooperation with the United States during my years as chair of the Finance Committee. This was all pre-September 11th, and
September 11, 2001 we are talking.
That's right.
Okay.
And people thought that at that point, my views on U.S.-Canada relations were, as they said, a little bit out there. But after September 11th happened, they actually began to make a lot of sense, in the sense of security, in the sense of greater economic integration. And the reason why that is because I believe that when you create a North American economic space, you have greater specialization, greater productivity, more jobs. You also have higher paying jobs and greater opportunities for people. You can't deny the fact that having 330 million people just south of us is an economic advantage. It has to be. Particularly when they need the goods and services and resources that we have. I've always advanced that type of view because I truly believe that Canada had to push on the areas of productivity. They're not the issues that you talk about around the kitchen table. I don't think too many people sit around talking about productivity.
Oh no, I don't.
And the ones that do talk about productivity, they probably think that it means that we're expecting them to do more with less and work harder. And that's not what it's about. It's about technology diffusion. It's about making sure that we are getting more products and services produced at very competitive prices, then we have a greater share of the global marketplace. And what happens with that is that you have greater opportunities, expanding opportunities for individual firms as well, and you have greater investment coming into the country. And all in all, it provides for a better standard of living for people, which ultimately is what public policy is about. You want to give a better quality of life and a higher standard of living for the people you represent. Without getting into the other sides of the equation, which is cultural expression, arts, social cohesion and all that. That's part and parcel of a society. But the bottom line is you've got to have people. You have to generate jobs and opportunities for people. And I think that's what people want. I was recognized for that by a number of organizations, including the city of Dallas, and they gave me the key to the city. I went back last week and they changed the locks on me though. So
Oh, God. Okay.
Just kidding. But that's what you need to do. And at times you've got to push the envelope, and I did that with Canada-U.S. relations. But at the end, after the events of September 11th, what I was saying was not as far-fetched as it once was viewed, because conditions have changed, and we needed to address the issues as they really were, which is something that I instinctively knew that was going on.
So that is the biblical maxim does apply, love thy neighbor as thyself. So
exactly.
Basically the love is still there.
Yes.
And it should be more stronger.
Yeah,
I
and
would say
what we need to do with the United States is very simple: to understand that we occupy the same continent, that we have to have goods and services go through both countries freely. That opens up all sorts of opportunities for people that that are in need of jobs, that are in need of generating wealth, but all towards an end. And the end is to create the happiest possible society to live in.
Absolutely. Having said that, I have had the honor and privilege of observing you, and I do see that you have been active in many, many communities. Moving on from U.S., you have had the highest civil honor given by an Italian government to an individual. What was that about?
Well, this is Premio Italiano nel Mondo, is an award given by the Italian government to those who they deem are role models internationally. And for me, it was a great honor, so, not so much for myself, but for my parents, who I brought to the ceremony in Rome, who took a great deal.
I'm sure it was an honor for them as well.
Who took a great deal of pride in that. And really, that award doesn't belong to me, it belongs to them, because in the final analysis, they made all the tough decisions, making sure that, they came to a country like Canada. That was their decision, it wasn't mine, and they made the right choice. Also, the whole notion of promoting education, making sure that we got an opportunity, those are things that belong really to my parents. And so as I reflect upon my life, many things that my parents, in their own simple way, promoted were valuable in moving forward. And there is a great benefit. And we go back to talking to young people. There's a great benefit for young people to listen to their parents for one simple reason: is that the parents have their best interest at heart.
Absolutely.
So they need to appreciate that they're very fortunate to have parents, siblings that look after them and say, listen, maybe take this road. That doesn't mean that you're defining them. It doesn't mean that you're restricting them, but you're offering your opinion and you're offering your advice based on personal experience. And experience only comes with age, and usually experience is a result of some failures along the way.
Absolutely.
And that's another thing when we talk to young people. Never to be discouraged by what you deem to be a failure, and always attach the right story to the event in your life. When I tell young people, if you failed a test, you failed the test, but you're not a failure yourself. Don't confuse the two. That you got to keep going. You've got to always do your best, and always be driven by a sense of love and passion for whatever you do.
Absolutely.
That's what you got to find.
That's a good way of looking at it.
That's what you have to find.
Moving on, you also had interacted with the state of Israel, and you were awarded for some of your work over there as well. What was that?
Well, it was an evening dedicated to my involvement there again as chairman of the finance committee. Work I did with labor management relations. They had a fairly large fundraiser. Not for me. They had a fundraiser. What I had the honor to do, though, and the privilege to do, was to recommend to them where the money ought to be directed. And I directed it to the RENA Foundation. It takes care of developmentally challenged individuals. To the Caritas Project, which is a drug rehabilitation center. And I also promoted the idea of building kindergarten and playground in Israel for everybody.
Absolutely.
Jews and Arabs and whoever else together.
Yes.
And that's just a small way of making a contribution to the betterment of the world. In the final analysis, not all of us are, Warren Buffett's and Bill Gates that can write a check for $698 million, but collectively.
Wishful thinking is there, though.
But collectively, we can all do our share.
Absolutely, and every bit matters. In the long run, every bit matters. I emphasize on youngsters that volunteering in different departments, different walks of life is the key. You understand, you integrate with each other.
Yeah.
On a quick note, I know it's too early for us to ask because you just took over as the mayor of the city of Vaughan. What do you see in the future, the developments, the shortcomings, or what needs to be done to make improvements in Vaughan?
Well, Vaughan is in a very privileged position. We have many things going on. We have a subway coming up very shortly in the next few years. We have a Vaughan Metropolitan Center, which is a downtown core, which is going to be built up. We have, of course, housing choices like no other municipality has, from condos going up to single-family dwellings to semi-detached homes to townhouses. We're really developing a very diverse community. And my ultimate goal is to have a mixed population where people feel comfortable in the sense of, various socioeconomic levels. Obviously, diversity is obvious. I was 70 languages are spoken in the city of Vaughan. I was in a school where 42 were spoken, a single school.
Oh my God, public school we're talking.
That's right.
Oh,
the dynamics there are phenomenal, and they all bring their strengths to the table.
No doubts.
The question is, what would Canada be without immigrants, without their contribution? What would Toronto be without your community, without the Italian Canadian community, the Portuguese community, the Greeks, the Chinese? I mean, it's multiculturalism at its best. But really, while we are very proud of our own cultural heritage, there's a common objective with all the communities, and that is to build the best city and the best country that Canada can become. The best city in the sense of Vaughan, the best country in the sense of Canada, as well as, of course, the best possible province. I find it that new Canadians are very proud, I should say, of their country they live in. And there's a transformation taking place, too. Like if one goes to a hockey game with the Toronto Maple Leafs and begins to look at the faces in those attending the game, they're quite different than they were in the 1960s and 70s, for a number of reasons. Number one, There's a great acculturation that is occurring with ethnocultural communities, but also there's a change in socioeconomic levels, which allows them to participate in places and venues where they couldn't before. And that speaks to, I think, the progress made, the integration without losing oneself, if you know what I mean by that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's a wonderful expression of a postmodern society. It goes beyond just a certain sense of living together, but it's a recognition that your individuality and authenticity can be expressed very freely within the new setting of this country. And that, to me, is the ultimate expression of what true democracy is about.
Absolutely. And as I said, diversity is the key of the Canadian cultures that I have known, and Prime Minister Trudeau introduced it, but diversity is everywhere. I see in Brampton, Vaughan, Mississauga, wherever we go. And that's the beauty of the country.
And I think that what's happened is, we've had multiculturalism for now since the 70s as an official policy. But now I also begin to see the emergence of interculturalism, which is a fusion of cultures.
Very well said.
That speak to a new expression of a society. Multiculturalism, yes, everybody can see it, but the fact that you and I are talking is no longer multiculturalism, it's interculturalism within a Canadian context.
Very true. In conclusion, would you like to give any message? We'll have your contact information on the screens, and I know personally you are very accessible and you have been over the years. Any message you want to give us to our viewers, the youngsters, the new Canadians?
Yes, I mean, hopefully they listen they've listened to what we were talking about for the past half hour or so. But to go out there and make the very best you can as a person, I think that to realize one's potential is extremely important. To give of yourself to the community is equally important, but to also enjoy life and live it to the fullest. You live in perhaps one of the greatest countries in the world. If you're around Vaughan, please, there are so many things to do. We got Canada's Wonderland, we got Vaughan Mills, we have the McMichael Art Gallery, and we have wonderful, wonderful people who reside in the area. Get to know the city of Vaughan as much as you can. We have a brand new city hall, which I invite, of course, the community to, on Major Mackenzie and Keele. It's a state-of-the-art building. We just actually moved in. I moved in the past week or so. So the very best to everyone watching this show. And I want to thank you for doing this, because this is an extremely important public service. It is only through communication and sharing of ideas that we can build a better society.
And bridge the gaps.
That's right.
Thank you very much once again, sir. Good luck.
Thank you.
God bless. Thank you.
ਸਿਟੀ ਆਫ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਮਨਾਏ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਡੇ ਦੇ ਜਸ਼ਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਮਿਲਿਤ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਹੰਸਰਾ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਰਾਇਲ ਸਟਾਰ ਰਿਐਲਟੀ ਦੇ ਸਹਿਯੋਗ ਨਾਲ 1 ਜੁਲਾਈ ਦਿਨ ਸ਼ੁੱਕਰਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਮਨਾਇਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਡੇ ਮੇਲਾ। ਇਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੇਸ਼ ਹੋਣਗੇ ਕਲੇਅਰ ਕੰਠ। ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਢਿੱਲੋਂ, ਬਾਲੀ ਲਸਾਰਾ, ਹੈਰੀ ਸੰਧੂ, ਬਲਜੀਤ ਸੰਧੂ ਅਤੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਸੁਰ, ਅਦਾ ਅਤੇ ਸ਼ਬਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਸੁਮੇਲ ਹੈਪੀ ਅਰਮਾਨ। ਹੈਪੀ ਅਰਮਾਨ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਡੇ ਮੇਲੇ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ। ਇਸ ਮੇਲੇ ਦੀ MC ਹੋਵੇਗੀ ਚੰਡੀਗੜ੍ਹ ਤੋਂ ਬੱਬੂ ਤੀਰ। ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਲਈ ਫੋਨ ਕਰੋ 4166617272।
Hi, this is Jyoti. I'm here at the Parade Centre scoping out our place of the venue where we're going to have our Canada Day celebrations.
ਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਖਾਸੀਅਤ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਬੱਡੀ ਦੇ ਮੈਚ ਹੋਣੇ ਨੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਨਾਲ 1 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 2 ਘੰਟੇ ਤੱਕ ਗਿੱਧੇ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੋਣ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ।
ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜ਼ ਕਮੇਟੀ ਉਹ ਗਰਾਊਂਡ ਦਾ ਜਾਇਜ਼ਾ ਲੈ ਰਹੇ ਹਨ। ਸੋ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਕਲਾਕਾਰ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਹਨ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਨਫਰਮ ਹਨ ਤੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਸਟਾਲ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਉਹ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਬੁੱਕ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਹਨ।
1 ਜੁਲਾਈ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੇ ਇਹ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਮਿਸ ਕਰਤਾ ਇਟ ਮੀਨਸ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਪਾਰਟ ਮਿਸ ਕਰਤਾ। ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ 1 ਜੁਲਾਈ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਪੁੱਜੋ।
ਇਸ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਡੇ ਤੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਇੱਕ ਤਵਾਰੀਖ ਕਾਇਮ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਹੁਮ ਆ ਕੇ ਪੁੱਜੋ।
ਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਗਰਾਊਂਡਾਂ 'ਚ 1.5 ਲੱਖ ਬੰਦੇ ਦਾ ਇੰਤਜ਼ਾਰ ਹੈਗਾ ਆਉਣ ਨੂੰ।
ਜੁਲਾਈ 1 ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਡੇ ਮੇਲਾ ਤੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਆਉਣਾ ਆ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡਾ ਮੇਲਾ ਲੱਗਣਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਪਾਵਰ ਸੈਂਟਰ 'ਚ ਅੱਲਾ ਯਾਰ ਤੂੰ ਸਾਈਂ ਯਾਰ ਤੂੰ ਮੌਲਾ ਯਾਰ ਤੂੰ ਸਾਈਂ ਯਾਰ ਤੂੰ।
ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਪਿਛਲੇ 2 ਮਹੀਨਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਹੰਸਰਾ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਦੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਹੀ ਟੀਮ ਦਿਨ ਰਾਤ ਇੱਕ ਕਰਕੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਡੇ ਮੇਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਤਿਆਰ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੂਰੀ ਲੱਗੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ। ਜੁਲਾਈ ਦੀ 1 ਤਰੀਕ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਰੈਂਪਟਨ ਦੇ ਪਾਵਰ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਦੀਆਂ ਗਰਾਊਂਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਣਾ। ਜਵਾਕਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਇਸ ਮੇਲੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਪ੍ਰਬੰਧ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ। ਆਓ ਆਪਾਂ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨ ਹੋਣ ਦਾ ਮਾਣ ਪੂਰਾ ਕਰੀਏ। ਲੈਟਸ ਸੈਲੀਬ੍ਰੇਟ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਡੇ ਦ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਟਾਈਲ। ਜੁਲਾਈ 1 ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਡੇ ਮੇਲਾ ਪਾਵਰ ਸੈਂਟਰ। ਅੱਲਾ ਯਾਰ ਤੂੰ ਸਾਈਂ ਯਾਰ ਤੂੰ ਮੌਲਾ ਯਾਰ
जब लड़की अपनी स्किन की वजह से परेशान हो
तो फिक्र की क्या बात है, लेजर स्पॉट है ना।
लेजर स्पॉट, फोटोफेशियल, थर्माज एंटी एजिंग, लेजर हेयर रिमूवल, लेजर स्पॉट, where beauty meets elegant professionals।
लेजर स्पॉट हाईवे 10 और क्वींस के संगम पर। कॉल शेला 9054872680।
ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਖਰੀਦਣ ਦੇ ਦੋ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਪਹਿਲਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੇੜੇ ਕੱਢੋ ਤੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਜਾਓ, ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਾਓ ਤੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਸੰਦ ਦਾ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਘਰ ਲੈ ਆਓ। ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਤੇ ਲੱਗੀ ਆ ਭਾਰੀ ਸੇਲ। ਘੱਟ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ 100% ਫਰਨੀਚਰ। ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਦੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਬ੍ਰਾਂਚ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੋ। 905 790 6790 905 790 6790 ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ।
ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਾਸ ਕਈ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ।
ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਕਲੇਮ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਸੈਟਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ।
ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਇੰਜਰੀ ਲਾਇਰ ਰਮੇਸ਼ ਸੰਗਾ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੋ।
ਤੁਰੰਤ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਲਈ ਆਓ ਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਮੁਆਵਜ਼ਾ ਲਓ।
हम रियल स्टेट, फैमिली लॉ और इमिग्रेशन में भी सर्विसेज देते हैं।
905 677 9911।
अपने कारोबार की तरक्की के लिए प्रिंट पब्लिसिटी और बेहतरीन प्रिंटिंग के लिए सिर्फ एक ही नाम,
साइंस टू गो।
जहां जदीद टेक्नोलॉजी से स्टोर फ्रंट साइंस, चैनल लेटर्स, बैनर्स, रियल एस्टेट साइंस, सैंडविच बोर्ड्स, व्हीकल ग्राफिक्स, बिजनेस कार्ड्स, पोस्ट कार्ड्स, लेबल्स, फ्लायर्स आपके बजट और आपके वक्त में बनाए जाते हैं। आपका काम सिर्फ सोचना है, क्योंकि
We print your thoughts.
साइंस टू गो।
जब लड़की अपनी स्किन की वजह से परेशान हो
तो फिक्र की क्या बात है, लेजर स्पॉट है ना।
लेजर स्पॉट, फोटो फेशियल, थर्माज एंटी एजिंग, लेजर हेयर रिमूवल, लेजर स्पॉट, where beauty meets elegant professionals.
लेजर स्पॉट हाईवे 10 और क्वींस के संगम पर। कॉल शेला 9054872680।
ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਖਰੀਦਣ ਦੇ ਦੋ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ। ਪਹਿਲਾ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਦਿਹਾੜੀ ਗੇੜੇ ਕੱਢੋ ਤੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਆ ਜਾਓ, ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਜਾਓ ਤੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਪਸੰਦ ਦਾ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਘਰ ਲੈ ਆਓ। ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਤੇ ਲੱਗੀ ਆ ਭਾਰੀ ਸੇਲ। ਘੱਟ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਤੇ 100% ਫਰਨੀਚਰ। ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਸ਼ਿੰਗਾਰ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ ਦੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਬ੍ਰਾਂਚ ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੋ। 905 790 6790 905 790 6790 ਨੋਬਲ ਫਰਨੀਚਰ।
ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਐਕਸੀਡੈਂਟ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਾਸ ਕਈ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ।
ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਕਲੇਮ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਸੈਟਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ।
ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕਾਂ ਲਈ ਇੱਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੀ ਤਜਰਬੇਕਾਰ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਇੰਜਰੀ ਲਾਇਰ ਰਮੇਸ਼ ਸੰਘਾ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲੋ।
ਤੁਰੰਤ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਸੇਵਾਵਾਂ ਲਈ ਆਓ ਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਮੁਆਵਜ਼ਾ ਲਓ।
हम रियल स्टेट, फैमिली लॉ और इमिग्रेशन में भी सर्विसेज देते हैं।
905 677 9911।
अपने कारोबार की तरक्की के लिए प्रिंट पब्लिसिटी और बेहतरीन प्रिंटिंग के लिए सिर्फ एक ही नाम,
साइंस टू गो।
जहां जदीद टेक्नोलॉजी से स्टोर फ्रंट साइंस, चैनल लेटर्स, बैनर्स, रियल स्टेट साइंस, सैंडविच बोर्ड्स, व्हीकल ग्राफिक्स, बिजनेस कार्ड्स, पोस्ट कार्ड्स, लेबल्स, फ्लायर्स आपके बजट और आपके वक्त में बनाए जाते हैं। आपका काम सिर्फ सोचना है, क्योंकि
We print your thoughts.
साइंस टू गो।